FX Chief here. We are in lesson 2 of our series of FX Chief's Fast Track Mentorship. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of creating a personal constitution. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a personal constitution? Do you even know how to go about creating a personal constitution? You know, I've learned if you don't know where you're going, you'll never go there or you'll never get there. So, you know, when the founding fathers of America formed the United States, they created a constitution. The Constitution of the United States is a document where thousands of men, if not hundreds of thousands of men, have given up their lives and died to defend it. See, when the Constitution of the United States was created, it was created by men of moral and strong characters, okay? And the Constitution of the United States has survived well over 200 years. In the last 200 years, there have been countless countries around the world that have fallen. There have been countless countries that have run into all kinds of problems because perhaps they didn't have a proper constitution. You know, I've learned that people in life, when they don't have a proper constitution, they crumble and they start to fall. And they never acquire their destiny. They never reach where they wanted to go. You see, do you know weakness of character creates weakness of destiny? See, destiny is not a matter of chance. Destiny is a choice. And how we achieve our destiny is highly based on our character. See, successful people in all walks of life have strong convictions and solid constitutions. They are overall very clear about who they are and what they stand for and what they will do and what they won't do. Now, Abraham Lincoln said, character is a lot like a tree, and reputation is its shadow. See, its shadow is what we think it is, but the tree is the real thing. So, you know, I've learned that our character is not created, formed, or built in a time of crisis. It's revealed and displayed. How many times have you watched somebody have an emotional hijacking? And here you thought this person was a wonderful person. Maybe it was a person at church. Maybe somebody at work. Maybe somebody in your family, one of your best uncles. And they have an emotional hijacking. And as they have this emotional hijacking, boy, they go on this rampage. They start cussing. They start demoralizing people. They start attacking people. And you sit there almost in a state of shock. Basically, I can't believe this. I can't believe he is saying that or she is doing that. See, character is all about what we do. And character is not built in a time of crisis. Character is revealed in a time of crisis. You can always tell the emotional maturity of leaders. You can always tell the emotional maturity of fathers and parents, if you will, because in a time of crisis, if you have parents in a time of crisis that they fall apart and they need to blame somebody and they start attacking you, it's real clear that they need to grow up emotionally, because falling apart in a time of crisis is a sign of weak character. Think about it. So if you're the type of person that starts to fall apart in a time of crisis, when it comes time to trading in the markets, and the markets run against you, you enter into a trade, and all of a sudden you're starting to lose all this money. See, how you do anything is how you do everything. See, if you fall apart in managing your life, if you fall apart in managing your business, if you fall apart as a parent in managing your household and your children, then when it comes time to trading, you're going to take that trait to trading. Think about it. Character is not built in a time of crisis. That's not when we develop ourselves. We have to be well developed before we enter the crisis. See, the crisis is a test to see what we're made of. See, when adversity comes into our lives, it really does three things. Number one, it tests us to see what we're made out of. Think about it. Are we going to crumble with this crisis? Are we going to conquer with this crisis? Are we going to whine with this crisis? Are we going to win with this crisis? Are we going to fall victim to this crisis? Or are we going to be a victor in this crisis? See, character has to be built before the crisis so that in the crisis, you do the right thing. You conquer, you win. And then the world sees that you're made of a strong character. See, most people think education and knowledge makes a character, but they are wrong. It is a strong conviction to a set of values and rules that you have made up your mind to follow and live by. Regardless of how you feel, it is choosing to live by principle and not by feeling. Now think about it. Do you go around in life managing your life by feelings? I'm going to do this because it feels good. I'm not going to do that because it doesn't feel good. Or do you manage your life based on a state of convictions, based on a state of morals that create your character? See, are you principle-based? Because if you haven't chosen to live by principle, then you're going to run into trouble. Because you can't choose to live your life based on feeling. Now, true character is not how much we know or claim to know. It is not what we do when we know what to do. Rather, it is how we behave when we do not know what to do. I never cease to be amazed. I used to travel, in my first business, I used to travel all around the United States with one of our vice presidents. I was married, he was married. And one of the things he loved to do is he loved to get out of town. And he loved to do everything wrong and inappropriate that you shouldn't do in a marriage. And he used to always invite me. And I used to say, no, as Austin Powers says, not my bag, baby. You know, I want to be true to my wife. I want to be true to my family. That's going to take me nowhere. And it was so amazing to me because as I knew him, as we worked together before we first traveled, I held him in high regard. Because, see, we have a tendency to not be who we say we are. See, we're not what we commit. We're not what we promise. We are what we do. And so when he was in town, he was this great guy. But when he was out of town, he was like wild. And I thought to myself, wow, what's his true character? Is this his true character? And when he works at the office, that's a fake character? Or is this his true character and that's his fake character? What is it? But one thing is, he ended up getting a divorce over moral issues in his family. See, big difference in chasing your destiny when you don't have a solid character. Now, what is a character? See, it is the inherent compilation of attributes that determines a person's moral and ethical actions and conduct. In other words, one's character is all about what one does versus what one says. Now, like what I was saying before, think for a second. You tell all kinds of people about who you are. You promise all kinds of people things that you will commit to. See, we're not what we tell other people we are. We're not what we commit. We're not what we promise. We're what we do. See, you can say all you want to say, but who you truly are is what you do. Now, here's the real problem with that. As I said before, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you have weak character in your life, if you negotiate your values, if you tell white lies, you try to cheat just a little bit, if you try to be, overall you try to be ethical, but, sometimes you're unethical. I kind of look at that like, You can't be kind of pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant, okay? You're either ethical or you're unethical. The problem is, how you do anything is how you do everything. Your weaknesses of character are going to create a weakness of destiny. Your weakness of character, you're going to take to the trading table. And everything you have a problem with at home in your weakness of character, you're going to take to the trading table, and you're going to have a weakness of character when it comes time to trading. If you're not a rule follower at home, you're not going to be a rule follower at trading. If you're not disciplined at home, you're not going to be disciplined at trading. Do you see how this is all tied together? I have worked with thousands of traders, tens of thousands of traders all over the world in the last 24 years. We just celebrated our 24th anniversary, and I will tell you, I never cease to be amazed. The more weak people are in character, the more they struggle at trading. And so one of the things you need to understand is a man's reputation is what everyone thinks of him, but his character is what he does and what he really is. See, you can think you are anything you want to be, but what you do is who you really are. I'll never forget, I hired this psychologist in my first business to come in and work with me and my leaders. Now, he gave us a psychological evaluation. He had everybody in the office take this evaluation about themselves to uncover who we truly are. It was quite amazing. After I took the evaluation and I saw my results, I was like, wow, I didn't think I was that. The most important thing that took place was he then gave a piece of paper or the evaluation to everybody in the office, and he wanted them to evaluate me. And it was quite interesting. See, in our minds, we think we're certain individuals. And we think in our minds that how we think of ourselves, other people think of us that same way. What an eye-opener to me that as I got the reports back with no names on them, what my people thought I was. I had to really step back. I had to really stop and say, wow, I really am not who I think I am. And I need to make a lot of changes in my life to become better, to be a true man of ethical character. Seriously, it was an amazing eye-opener. So we're not what we say we are. We're not what we think we are. We're not what we commit. We're what we do. And so, see, the true test of our character is not how much we know how to do, but how to properly conduct ourselves when we quite don't exactly know what to do. I love the story. This little kid, he says, Mom, I've really been enjoying spending the night at my friend's house, but I have a question. He says, I sometimes sneeze and nobody's around. Do I still say, excuse me? And she said, yes, you still have to say, excuse me, even though nobody's around. Because, son, you got to get in the habit when you're all by yourself of doing the same things that you do when you're around other people that you're accountable to. And what a lesson. See, many people have a tendency to be totally different than who they were or who they are in front of other people. When they're away from other people and no one else is around, that's the true test of your character, And then if while your character is being tested, you fail at that test, and then somebody in town sees you that lives in your town, what do you think they're going to think? All of a sudden, they thought you were a person of strong moral character with a great reputation, and now they see you do these things out of town? How does it go? I love the story. There's these three ministers, and they all went out of town together, and they went camping. And they said, we're all by ourselves. We might as well do something that we always wanted to do, but we can't do in front of other people. And so the first one says, I think that's a great idea. He says, I think I'm going to have a beer because everybody in my congregation doesn't think I drink. The other one says, man, I'm going to cuss. And he starts cussing up a storm. He says, because I just don't cuss in front of my congregation. And they waited and waited for the third one to speak up, and he didn't say anything. And then they said, well, what's your weakness? What would you like to do? He says, well, I love to gossip, and I can hardly wait till I get back home and tell everybody what you guys did. See, now, it doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter where you go. You have to maintain the same character, and you have to maintain the same morals and the same working ethic everywhere you go, whether you're in a crowd or by yourself. And that is critical to finding your destiny in life, because how you do anything is how you do everything. You're going to need the help of other people, and you're going to need other people to trust you. You're going to need other people to help you and want to help you. But if they feel insecure with you, they feel like, wow, look at this individual. I can't trust this individual. Now, you can easily discern the true character of a person by how they treat other people that wait on them, serve them, or better yet, how they interact with them when they have nothing to gain from them. You know, I've been to close to 40 countries around the world. We had 70 offices around the world. And I will tell you, it was quite amazing. One of the things is I did business with other people, and we would hire managers to run these offices, or if they wanted to own the office. One of the things I would do is I would ask to go to dinner with them and their spouse. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to see how they treated the waiters and the people that were serving them. And I wanted to see how they treated their wives, because it was quite interesting. The ones that were brutal and ruthless with the waiters and brutal and ruthless with their wives were the ones that we had the most trouble with. And so I finally learned that on the first visit, if we went to dinner with their wives and them, and they were brutal with the waiters and their wives, I wouldn't do business with them. And so one time I went to Mexico with my son, who was the president of the company, and we met this individual who had 1,200 employees, and he offered our company a tremendous opportunity to break into the Mexico market. And so we ended up asking him to introduce us to his people. As we walked around his plant, he acted like he was a god, and everybody needed to be subservient to him. I was not impressed. He talked down to his people. We then went to dinner with him and his wife that night, and he literally demanded, because one of the waiters spilt a glass of water on the table, and he demanded, it was a restaurant that he frequented all the time, and he demanded to speak to the owner and demanded that that guy got fired. I was shocked. His wife turned around and started to say, don't be so hard. He's just, trying to make a living. And then he tore into his wife. That night when we went back to the hotel, I told my son, I said, I don't want to do business with him. My son said, why? I said, how he treated the waiter and how he treated his wife is exactly how he's going to treat us down the road. Look those were problems in his life. Those were crises, at least to him. Look at how he handled the crisis. In the future, when he has crisis in his business, he's going to handle that the same way with us. He's got to blame somebody else all the time. And he will blame us. Well, my son and I kind of got into it, and I finally said, look, you're the president of the company. I'll do whatever you say you want to do. He says, I want to do business. Well, we did business. Now watch this. There's a saying that goes like this. I've made more money walking away from deals than I've made taking the deal. We worked for 2 solid years with this company and this man, only to have everything blow up in one incident. Everything came to an end. Just like that waiter who spilt the water. Everything came to an end. And so all the money we made, we ended up losing and trying to fight, if you will, to come back to a fair win-win situation, which we could never do. And so it was kind of sad. You can make more money learning to walk away from trades than you can in making trades. See, As I said, I made more money walking away from deals than entering into deals, and you will be well served to learn that lesson, because you will make more money in trades that you walk away from that are not the right setup. You see, when we look down on someone, talking ill of them or even judging them is nothing more than a dishonest way of appraising ourselves. Think about it. It's not right to judge other people. You don't know what their situation is. You don't know what battles they're dealing with. You don't know what burdens they have. You know, to look down and to judge someone else, as I said, is nothing more than having a false assessment of who you are. A person of strong moral character doesn't do that. They're constantly focused in on helping people. You see, anyone can attack, demoralize, criticize, blame, or even condemn, but it takes a strong character with a solid constitution coupled with self-control and emotional intelligence that paves the way for success, not only in their business life, but in their personal life. Now, if you want to achieve success at anything, you want to achieve success at trading, you want to achieve success at home in your marriage, you want to achieve success as a parent, you want to achieve success amongst your friends, you have got to be someone that can be trusted. You've got to be a person of strong character. See, weak characters are always exposed with time, and nothing ever good comes out of it. You know, I had a friend teach me something that I thought was really true. After working with her for 8 years, I said, you know, I've never once in 8 years ever seen you tell a lie. Not even a white lie. And she said to me, yeah, my parents taught me at a very young age that telling a lie is a lot like trying to hide under a small towel. It doesn't matter how hard you try. There will always be your elbow sticking out or your leg sticking out. Something will be sticking out, and it will eventually be found. See, lying is a sign of weak character. And so in the last 50 years, our society has moved from being principle-based to one of being predominantly feeling-based. See, when I grew up, everyone, you need to understand this. When I grew up in a constitutional-based family. My Saturdays, I wanted to play park football so bad you had no idea. My Saturdays were filled with cleaning the house, with going to the neighbor's house and mowing their lawn, with helping that little old lady who had a roof that needed to be fixed, with fixing her fence. My mother would cook all day, and then early in the evening we'd go feed the poor. This was every Saturday. One of the things I learned is that I learned that to do things that many times I didn't want to do, but I did them because it was the right thing to do. Today, we live in a feeling-based society. We're plagued with society problems. Why? Everybody wants rights. All our youth wants rights, but they don't want responsibility. We have to accept responsibility. See, everybody does what they feel like doing, not what they should be doing. But what? I'm not going to go paint that lady's house on my Saturday, my free weekend. That's not fun to do. Who wants to do that? See, it doesn't feel good to do that. It feels better to sit on the couch and watch football all day. See how we've moved? I do drugs because it feels good. I'm not faithful to my wife because it feels good. See? Or I'm faithful to my wife because it's my constitution. It's my character to be faithful to my wife. Okay? The more you do things in your life that are feeling-based versus constitutional-based, the more problems you will have in your life. Now, what is a constitution? Most commonly, the term constitution is used to refer to as a set of rules that govern political bodies. These rules may or may not be summarized in a single document. See, a constitution is the act or process of composing, setting up, or establishing a structure of performance, governed by a set of fundamental rules, laws, and principles that describe the nature, function, and limits of one's performance. A constitution is a guide that should never be abandoned, regardless of the situation. It should be something of great value that you fight for to the death to preserve. It is not something to be taken lightly, but rather should be well thought out. It should not be written in sand to be washed away with every new wave of enticement that comes along. Rather, it should be etched in stone. The Constitution of the United States of America was not only created and written for the current generation, but for all prosperity, a timeless document for its successors and descendants. There is no power in and of the text or paper itself. However, the power is in the words written that create a position in life. If we don't stand for something, we have the potential to fall for everything and anything. It is a reminder of a foundation one has promised to begin building his life and character on. When it comes time to building a building, you have to have a solid foundation. The weaker the foundation, the greater the chance the building's going to crumble. The stronger the foundation, the higher the building you can build, the more beautiful of a place you can build to receive people. Your character is the same, and your constitution is what literally builds your character. Now, let's create your own personal constitution. If you don't know how to create a constitution, I want to share with you one of the most amazing experiences I ever had. Back when I was 22 years old, I was mentored by Stephen Covey. He wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and before he died, he ended up endorsing my book, The 10 Essentials to Forex Trading. And he, at the age of 22, walked me on this journey. He says, Jared, he says, I'm going to walk you through this exercise. I'm going to create a constitution for your life. And I said, okay. He said, here's a piece of paper and pencil. And I challenge all of you to pull out a pencil and paper and to write this down and to literally create your own constitution. But he says, I want you to write down, if you were to die, what your significant other would say to you or say about you at the funeral. And then he says, I would like you to write down what you think your children would say about you at your funeral. And then I would like you to write down what a family member would say to you at your funeral. And then I would want you to write down what your best friend would say about you at the funeral. And then I would like you to write down what a coworker is going to say about you at your funeral. Okay? And then I would like you to write down what somebody from your church or community would say about you at the funeral. And so he said, just, write a paragraph of what you think they would say about you. Now, don't write what you would want them to say about you. Write down what you think they would say about you. Wow, what a difference. Not what I wanted them to say, but what I thought they would say about me. So I sat there for about an hour and I wrote a paragraph or 2 paragraphs under each one of these columns here. And then I handed it to him and he read it. He said, wow, this is pretty interesting. This is what you think they would say about you. I said, this is what I hope they say about me. He says, well, he said, I wanted you to write down what you thought they would say about you. And I said, I know, but this is what I really would like them to say about me. He handed me the paper back and he says, okay, here's your constitution. Go live that. Go live that. Think about it, everybody. As you write your constitution, everything you want people to say about you, you have to live that life. You have to be that character so that is what they say about you. Now see, a trader's constitution is a structure of performance governed by a set of fundamental rules, laws, and principles that describes the nature, functions, and limits of one's performance. It's a disciplined set of rules and laws that one is willing to obey. And trust me, everybody, when it comes time to trading, you absolutely need to have a constitution. You have to obey rules if you're going to be successful. You have to be disciplined if you're going to be successful. See, a trader's constitution is not a concept or document that restrains or limits one's performance. Rather, it is there to safeguard and preserve it from being tarnished. It is a guideline created allowing freedom from financial harm. As one trades, it becomes one's compass to their destiny. Now, I love the last line. A compass to their destiny. I started off by saying destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a decision that we make in our lives. Okay? And so you have to have a compass if you want to go somewhere. Defining your trading methodology, traders' rules, traders' value system, and traders' constitution will serve as a compass that will prevent you from straying off course. When you stray off course, we end up in a lot of trouble. But the truth of the matter is, anybody that becomes great in life will end up in a fork in the road, right here. And that fork in the road is what defines all of us. It proves to ourselves that we are great by making the right choice. And many times it's a hard right that we have to make. Because when we make an easy left, okay, and we're searching short-term satisfaction, you know, when we do things easy today, our lives become harder down the world, down the path. When we do hard things today, our life becomes easier down the road, okay? So it is this fork in the road that tells the world who we are. This is our chance to tell whether we are of strong character or whether we are of weak character, whether we are going to conquer as we chase our destiny or whether we're going to crumble as we chase our destiny. See, our character, our personal traits and habits and who we are, we bring to the trading table. Now, here is my personal trader's constitution. I want to share it with you because I literally, when I started to learn how to trade, I had to purge so many of my bad habits. I would have to say, learning to trade has made me a better man, a better father, a better friend, a better employer. It has made me overall a better person. And so I hope it has the same effect on you. But let's take a look at my trader's constitution. Here it is right here. I am a proficient, disciplined, and profitable Forex trader. I enjoy trading to make a profit. I honor the responsibility I have to myself and to those who are watching and depending on me to be such a trader. Therefore, I continue to educate myself on how the market works. I know how to determine market direction, and I have a simple trading methodology that has an entry strategy and two exit strategies, one for profit and one for loss, with equity management that feels comfortable to me and that I understand. I have a set of trading rules that make sense, and I obey my trading rules. I trade for pips and not for money. I trade non-emotionally. I turn off my profit and loss window on my dealing station to support this decision. I always trade with a protective stop-loss order. When I find a trade, I create a trading plan and trade my plan. If my currency of choice does not meet the criteria of my trading methodology, I look for another trade or currency. If I cannot find a trade, I am patient and wait until the market meets the criteria of my trade. After each trade, I always win, either in pips or in experience. Now, everybody, A trader's constitution is figured out through persistence, and through the foundation is laid with character. It is basically very simple and pure. Everybody, you need to understand, we're here to help one another. We're not here to impress one another, okay? A constitution needs to be the ultimate expression of your innermost values and beliefs that will stand as your compass in life, giving you the direction to your desired destiny. Everybody, we all want to have a great life before our time's up. We all want to have a life filled with no problems and no challenges, but that's not a reality. What will help you enjoy that life filled with challenges and problems is to have a solid constitution that you're willing to die for, and to have a solid character that allows you to literally apply when it comes time to problem solving. If you have to hesitate about any ethical or unethical decision, then you need to take pause and take a stronger look at your character. Because when an unethical situation comes up in your life, you can't pause to decide, should I do this or not? If you have to pause, you're in trouble. You have to be able to immediately say, no, those are things I'm not willing to do, and those are things I'm not going to do. See, your constitution will become the criterion by which you measure everything in your life, and will ultimately have the greatest effect on the quality of your life and the quality of your experience in this life. Everybody, I hope you take the time to envision yourself entering into a church. And when you enter into that church, you notice that a funeral is going on because you see a casket at the end. And you look around and you see all your friends. And you think, wow, I wonder who died. And as you walk towards the casket and you look in the casket, by your surprise, you see that it's you. And as you write down what you would like all these people to say about you, that you write down what you really want them to say about you. And then that you have the courage to go live that the rest of your life. This is the Chief.